Hello, hello. What's good? What's good? Let me see and just do a little quick audio test before we get into everything. Give me a second here. See how everything is working out. Yeah. Look like we're good to go. Apologize to everybody. This is the first actual live show that I'm doing. I'm trying to get back into doing the whole week, but instead of trying to do the whole week every week as an edited video, something that like I'm chopping up and I'm throwing up different things all the time, here today we're going to be doing a live version of the whole week, going back and recapping a whole bunch of different things. What's up, Charles? I see you already in the comment section. Appreciate you for even dropping something in the little chat, man. Appreciate that. But we're going over a bunch of different topics here from the past week. I went through, I found articles. Once the video is posted, I believe you'll be able to find them in the description. Just talking about a bunch of different stories. The first story I want to get into, the first topic I want to cover is dealing with a movie called Prey. Prey was released on Hulu a few weeks back, but since it's been released, there's been a lot of hate towards Prey. I don't feel like that's 100% necessary. I had some images and I'm fooling around with some things as I'm doing it live here, trying to talk and show you some of the things. Nope, that's not showing up. There were a few things that I was trying to show you all, but it doesn't look like I'll be able to access all those photos that I found. No, that's not gonna help me. That's not gonna help me. Anyway, sorry about all that, but I had some ideas in my mind of things I wanted to throw up in post. But when I talk about the movie Prey to me was a very, very good film, but there's been detractors that have come out online talking about how, oh, you know, she's a Mary Sue, she's just because it's a woman, she can do anything and everything. And I feel like that's just misguided hate toward a movie that was actually a very, very well done and good movie. Prey, for some reason, didn't go to theaters. And I believe that it was very, very, very worthy to be in theaters. I thought the movie was excellent. If you really watched and paid attention to it, I think you would know very well that, she outsmarted the Predator. The only reason why she lived and survived is really, if you think back to all the Predator films, somebody was smart enough to put things together. So in this movie, it's her. She used her medicinal training, like the knowledge of the herbs, to really like drop her temperature instead of recreating the mud scene from the original. I liked it. I liked everything about it. And I don't think that it was done in a certain way or fashion because it was a woman. So I just like to dispel all that hate that the movie Prey got, because I think Prey was very good. It's the best Predator movie probably since the original, but I did have a soft spot in my heart for the 2010 Predators. And I will also say that there was a Predators, I believe in like 2018 or 17, with Olivia Munn in it. And I forgot that that was even a thing. Like, it was totally blocked away from my memory. So this one is the best one in a long time, and probably the best one since the original. So that's where we fall on Prey. Just wanted to come back and praise that movie after it come out and kind of just, dispel those detractors online. People just saying, oh, it's not good because it's a woman. Like, we need to stop that. And I'm saying that as a person who just recently, if you friended the channel, you'll see that I just recently put out a review of the first episode of She-Hulk, where I'm kind of maligning it a bit because it's a woman. So those are the thoughts there with Prey, and I'm gonna just keep it moving right along to the next point I wanted to make, and that would be about One Punch Man. So just recently, probably last night, overnight, I saw a big tidal wave of this poster online. I wanted to show the poster, but I just don't know the buttons to press because I'm not familiar with the whole live function yet, but we'll get there. And One Punch Man has a poster for season 3 out. It's like, it's mock art, Saitama is way bigger and much more butch and brawny than he's ever been depicted in those early seasons. But man, it's been 3 years since season 2 ended. It ended in July of 2019. So I'm happy and I'm excited to be getting more One Punch Man. It's one of the funnier animes, still very serious in tone, but everything about Saitama makes him a super interesting character to watch and follow. So I'm excited about it. I'm happy about it. And I would very much like to see that season come out and just, enjoy it, because it's been so long since we've gotten anything from him or that franchise in the anime world. I'm very much looking forward to seeing it. So that's a big announcement that just came last night, and I felt like it was worth noting, talking about it with people. And again, wish that I had the mastery of the live setup done, but it's not 100% yet. So with that being said, we're gonna just have to move on right to the next topic. Next topic would be Daredevil. So link in the description to the Daredevil costume and all that stuff that they talk about with Daredevil. And really, I've been wanting to talk about Daredevil since Comic-Con. Like when Comic-Con hit, there was this like flood of Daredevil news, and it's like, Charlie Cox is coming back and he's doing an 18 episode season, and Charlie Cox and Vincent D'Onofrio are gonna be in Echo. And just recently, I want to say it was last week or this week, within the last 7 days, it's come out that, it's confirmed now Daredevil's going to be more lighthearted and more fun than in the previous Netflix iterations. And it's like, come on, man. I'm not actually excited about any of the Daredevil news, y'all. None of it. And here's the reason why. Daredevil worked so well on Netflix because he was dark and he was gritty. And you've solidified us in that world. We've gotten 3 seasons of that version of Matt Murdock. Now, I like Charlie Cox, and his willingness to show up and cameo and all these different things really, really, really shows how much he loves the character. But taking it to an 18 episode season, it screams 2 things to me. One, it screams we're gonna get 30-minute episodes, and they're gonna be really quick, and it's gonna boil down to being the same as like an 8 episode season of Netflix, which is not bad, but you see that big number 18 and people get excited, but the truth is, it's not gonna be all that. It's gonna be the same amount of show that you would get in any other place. As well as 18 episodes to me screams filler episodes. Like, I don't want to see filler episodes with Daredevil material. Like, I just don't want to see that. We had nice storytelling on the Netflix and in the Netflix universe for the most part, at least with Daredevil. Not so much with the other shows, but Daredevil kept it together most of the time. I don't want to see it get watered down. 1, with the lack of drama, and 2, with the stretching out of episodes and all the cameos. Like, him being in Echo raises so many questions. Like, will there be any communication between Maya, that character, and Matt Murdock? He's blind, she's hearing impaired. How is all that gonna work? Like this, and how are you gonna make that lighthearted where Maya herself was such a grittier character in the Hawkeye shows? So it's like, none of that excites me. I didn't like seeing Daredevil in the Hawkeye show, seeing him in the Hawaiian shirt with the little fedora. Like, that's not the Daredevil. I'm sorry, excuse me. That's not the Kingpin that we've come to know. The Kingpin that we've come to know is like super serious and strong and like disciplined, and he doesn't come across as bumbling and somebody who would be susceptible to being shot in an alley, or at least being cornered in an alley. Like, he would be way more cognizant of his environment than that. So I didn't like his depiction in Hawkeye, and I feel like me and my producer talked several times about it. He feels like that cameo there with the Hawaiian shirt, that was just them starting to make their way to give us more lighthearted versions of the Netflix characters. So I'm not excited about that. Not excited about that at all. And in the comment section, you can let me know if the Daredevil news really excited you, because it never excited me. I don't like the suit redesign, trying to make him more old school comic book accurate with the yellow and red. Like, man, just stop. Just pick things up right where they left from Netflix. Continue that line of storytelling. I would much prefer that. But also, at the same time, I'm gonna choose to trust Marvel because I feel like they've always done relatively well at most of the things they put out. For the most part, everything they put out has been solid, to say the least. So that is where I'll leave Daredevil, and I'll go straight into Giancarlo Esposito. So more MCU, more comic book stuff. Promise that not every episode of the whole week is gonna be super comic book heavy, but they do like to make their announcements in the Marvel universe and the DC universes. So we will be talking about that stuff. But looking at Giancarlo Esposito, I have some thoughts. So when we look at him, he's been up for Charles Xavier, like that's the new talking point with him. But then it comes out this week that he's actually also auditioned for several other roles. Like they say that he even auditioned for Loki at one point. And it makes me think that's a smokescreen. Like he probably never was realistically in line to take the Loki role. And also it makes me think Giancarlo Esposito can take any role based on performance. Like he can do anything. The man is amazing. I think that Loki line was just a smokescreen to kind of put it out there. It's like, hey, you know, we can change the race of any character we want. And while I would be fine with a black version of Magneto or Professor X, Giancarlo Esposito in any one of the roles, I think the greater point that I want to drive home and talk about is how when white audiences see characters get changed from white to black or anything like that, I think that they forget, or the people who are really vocally angry, they forget that when black characters are made, they're normally made and all their stories center around their ethnicities, specifically their blackness, or if it's an Asian character, his Asianness. It's like all that is the centerpiece of those characters. Whereas when you look at Captain America, it's like, he was just Captain America. All he has to be is American. He can be Asian, he can be black. You look at Superman, Kal-El is an alien first. Second, he can be a black alien, a purple alien. He could be any skin color because it doesn't matter. The stories that were told about Superman never were tied to the fact that this is a white man. If you take it, the image that I wanted to show here in this moment was the image of Ryan Gosling as Black Panther. That circulates on Twitter all the time. Like when you have a character's race come out, they throw up Ryan Gosling with the Black Panther pose, like walking out with the arms spread, but it's a white man underneath. But the thing about it is that, again, when black characters were made back then, it was always blackness. That's everything to do with his story. Think about Luke Cage. Luke Cage is a black man from Harlem with the power to like be super strong, and he's like impenetrable and all these things. But it's like, if you take that person and make him white, there are so many aspects of his personality and so many of his stories that just don't work anymore as a white man in the same role. We could do the same thing with Black Panther. Like, he is an indigenous African from a tribe of people who never dealt with outsiders. He has to be black. Like, there's no other way to do that. The only MCU character that I can think of, and I did not do research on this, but I think Blade is one of the few that can be swapped from black to white. I have to actually go and look at the old Spider-Man animated stuff that's currently on Disney+. But I think people would agree. Blade was probably, if my memory is right, he was depicted as white in that show. And now he's black in the Blade movie starring Wesley Snipes, and he's gonna be black again with Mahershala Ali. But that's one character who's normally depicted as black who could be white easily, because nothing about Blade is tied to being black. Everything about Blade is tied to being the Daywalker. Like, oh, has all the benefits of being a vampire with very little disadvantages. Like, he can go in the sun and he can do all these things. So that character can be any race. But at the same time, as I'm saying all that, Wesley Snipes did such a great job with Blade back in the 90s that I don't think that audiences will accept any depiction besides what we see as Blade, you know, the black with the haircut and everything. So much so that even Mahershala Ali in the new iterations is gonna have to have like that haircut that's like triangle hair. It's gonna have to be something like that moving forward, because that is what audiences have grown to love. And you know, it is what it is. Black Professor X, Black Magneto, none of that stuff really matters. As long as the movie is good and the stories make sense, I'm rocking with it. So that's kind of where I fall on the Giancarlo Esposito as Professor X story. You know, those characters can be changed racially as much as they want, as long as the story makes sense and the movie is good. I truly don't have any complaints. Moving from that story though into my last two stories kind of bleed over into each other. So we have linked in the description The Rock, who fought DC over the use of Black Adam in Shazam, and then the entire fiasco that is DC Films with the new Warner takeover and all the stuff that's happening over there with HBO Max and all that. So talking about The Rock first, I want to say very clearly that Marvel and the MCU would never allow a star, an actor, to go into like offices and say, hey, I don't think that we should do that with this character. What? Like, we don't care what you think at all about what you think we should do with the character. It shows passion, yes. It shows commitment to the character and getting it like right, yes. But to say, oh, like that's the thing to do, I don't think it is. I feel like that's a horrible move. I feel like it should have never been honored or respected. And I think like laying down for celebrities and stars in roles is kind of what is another thing that makes DC such a clown show of a film studio, in my opinion. And man, that's harsh words coming from a person who's just like going live at his house, you know, in a little film space. Like, man, you calling DC a clown show, but it is. And that's gonna bleed me right into my next point of like, if they would just stick to a plan, you wouldn't have the problems that they're having now with, they're talking about Greg Berlanti as possibly being the Kevin Feige role or leader of DC Films. And it's like, that's, first of all, you don't have to call that role a Kevin Feige role. Just call him the person who's gonna like steer the ship for you all. That's one. Two, biggest misstep of DC in the last, I wanna say 15 to 20 years. Yeah, that seems good. 15 years feels right. The biggest misstep is by not allowing the great, no, I'm saying his name, but I can't think of it. I'm seeing his face. Oh my God. Oh, I'm sorry. I blanked out for a second. The great Zack Snyder. Not allowing the great Zack Snyder to finish his vision. That is what I feel like is the biggest misstep of these guys in the last 15 to 20 years. If you let Zack Snyder finish his vision, if you say, hey, we know Superman, Man of Steel didn't make all the money we thought it was gonna make. And then, oh, Batman versus Superman still didn't make all the money we thought it was gonna make, but we're gonna trust you, Zack, we're gonna let you do your thing. If they had done that, at this point, 2022, I think Zack Snyder originally said he had a 5-film vision. Like, his vision would be done, completed, or at least ending at this point. So when he's finished, y'all can say, hey, we like your actors, we don't like your vision, we're gonna keep your actors, we're gonna kind of like do a soft reboot with a whole new plan in place. And then like, it would be clear, like it would be good, you would be good to go. But as my producer and me constantly talk about, they make poor decision after poor decision after poor decision, and they constantly react to the lack of financial success, which shouldn't really be the goal. I understand everybody wants to make money in the movie industry, but you gotta do more as far as taking these things and making good decisions around the art that comes out of it. You can't just say, oh, well, we didn't make $1 billion. Every movie doesn't make $1 billion. Like, it's actually kind of tough to make $1 billion movies back to back to back or all the time. When you look at the comic book movie world, you got Marvel, who built this thing kind of from the ground up, but even their initial movies, it was risk. There was risk involved with the first Iron Man. Like Robert Downey Jr., as much as esteem and respect is on his name right now, it was not there in 2008. Robert Downey Jr. was trying to recover his career all those years ago. And Jon Favreau, if my memory suits, had maybe directed one other thing on a large scale, but you trusted Favreau, you trusted Robert Downey Jr., you trusted Kevin Feige to say, hey, if we make money here, then we'll roll with this. And if this does well, then we'll roll with that. That was their plan. And even though they had a long roadmap laid out, You don't necessarily have to do that exact thing. What you need to do is focus on making good movies and stick to one, like, okay, we're gonna do this, and then we're gonna do this. We don't let actors influence our decisions, and we don't let box office derail our plans. Because when that happens, you're gonna be labeled as reactionary for the rest of the time of you doing things. And now every move that they make just looks foolish. It looks foolish. Like every little thing. People talk about the Batgirl situation. Oh, Batgirl got canceled, but Ezra's movie, The Flash, did not. And it's like, people question your decision making when you constantly make bad decisions. People question your decision making when the plan changes according to box office reception or critical reception. So it's unfortunate that it's like that. Speaking to the article that I have linked is like a rumor mill type article talking about Greg Berlanti being that guy. And while I don't think Greg Berlanti is like incapable, I do think he did a decent job with the CW stuff. Now, all of the CW stuff fell off, yes, but I think that's more the writers' rooms that were in those rooms. Like when I think about Arrow, like 4 seasons, okay, how long do you want this to go on? I must say, from the early days of me watching comic book stuff to where I am now, my thinking is so different. You can't have a show like The Flash go on for 9 seasons when his solution to all his problems is run faster, Barry, run faster. That makes no sense to have 9 seasons of that. You have to write with a plan to end this thing at some point. And I don't feel like they really did. Same thing shows up with Arrow, same thing shows up with Black Lightning, same thing showed up with Supergirl. The only show that I think was bad from its inception and then just kind of continued to be bad was the Legends of Tomorrow. Like, had a rocky start, didn't really know what tone it wanted, then it found a zany tone, which it was fine for a season, and then got zanier and zanier. And the last time I paid attention to Legends of Tomorrow advertising, they had unicorns that were evil and just madness all across the timeline. And I was just like, how is this not affecting anything else we're seeing if it's all connected? So again, I don't think that's all Berlanti's fault. You know, the way things kind of fell off at the CW, there was much more things at play than that. I think he's capable to create a universe and like have it expand. I wouldn't hate seeing things in Berlanti's hands, but man, as a company, as a unit, DC has to say, whatever plan Berlanti rolls out with, we're gonna go with it up to this point. And that is how you make your studio have more respectability in the eyes of the public and focus on making good content. That's all you really have to do. With all that being said though, I got through it relatively fast, 23 minutes. That was the goal. Keep it under 30 minutes, talk about all the different topics. I'm gonna be researching different live streaming platforms and different things. So you may see things looking differently moving forward, but this is the goal. Come in, talk about the whole week without having to edit a 30-minute video and put it out the next day and all that stuff. We're just gonna go live. We're gonna talk about it. You can drop little comments in the little live feed. I can see that thing as I'm going, and I appreciate anybody who comes back and checks this thing out later. Hopefully everything came out right. We will improve as we move forward. Enjoy yourself, guard your heart, and go watch something good.